We have reports from Paris that Diana, Princess of Wales, has been killed in a car accident, and that her partner, Dodi Fayed, has also been killed.
But I'm not just generally happy. If I'm generally anything, I guess I'm generally miserable.
Nobody should be hitting lotto for 36 million and we got people starving in the streets. No way Michael Jackson should have, or whoever Jackson, should have $1 million, quadruple $1 billion, and then as people starve.
I never want to be in the realm of where I'm caught in a mold and I can't get out.
If you had to name the devil for you, the biggest devil among them?
That would be me.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to discuss conspiracy theories regarding the mysterious deaths of celebrities. So we're going to talk about Princess Diana, Marilyn Monroe, Tupac, and then a bit of Whitney at the end, because I find that one a little bit suspicious. All the conspiracies I talk about, I do have some belief to what I'm talking about. I wouldn't say it unless I genuinely believed that this was the case. Because I'm a big conspiracy theorist. I believe in this sort of stuff. I believe that the Illuminati. I believe that a lot of deaths are faked. Sacrifices. So I'm not going to tiptoe around the subject. I'm going to talk to you about why these celebrity deaths are mysterious and don't seem too right. So if you do enjoy the video, please leave a like down below and subscribe if you want to see more videos. I would really appreciate it. It gives me motivation to do more videos like these. So let's begin. So should we start off with my favourite, Marilyn Monroe? Anyone that knows me knows I love Marilyn Monroe. She's been a huge icon to me. Gave me the inspiration for my style along the years, so I love her so much. So we all know Marilyn Monroe to be one of the most famous actresses. She's still known to this day, and her death is very suspicious. So from a young age, Marilyn Monroe lived with her mum, who suffered with mental health problems and depression. So Marilyn Monroe had to go into an orphanage. But because of the child abuse that Marilyn Monroe had from the orphanages and the foster homes, she had to keep getting placed to different ones until finally she lived with her auntie. Marilyn herself did suffer with depression and anxiety throughout her life, which links in with the trauma she experienced throughout her life and the links between her mum suffering with the mental health and the depression throughout her life. Had to see a psychiatric, she even got put into a psychiatric ward at one point, but she got but someone bailed her out. So there was a lot of talk that Marilyn Monroe had an affair with JF Kennedy and his brother Robert Kennedy. But Marilyn Monroe really fell in love with JF Kennedy, but she started sleeping with Robert Kennedy, who had strong feelings for Marilyn, but Marilyn was really in love with JF Kennedy, John Kennedy. So obviously Marilyn Monroe was quite heartbroken at the fact of the whole situation. So Marilyn Monroe started talking to friends saying that she was going to leak information about the Kennedys and the whole government FBI secrets, which obviously they don't want anyone to know. Clearly, they don't want anyone to know what's going on behind closed doors. So obviously that was an issue for the president. So what did they do next? They actually started wiring Marilyn's phone to see what she was saying to other people and listening to what she had to say about the whole situation, which obviously they did not like. Near the time that Marilyn Monroe had died, she had just recently moved into her new place, wasn't furnished yet. I believe that she was in there for about 6 months before her death. And the day she died, nothing out of the ordinary happened that day. It was a normal day. She had spoke to her psychiatric doctor that day and also had a conversation with Peter Lawford, who at the time rang her, noticed that she was very slurred and didn't sound normal, which caused a lot of concern. And Peter Lawford was actually the brother-in-law of the Kennedys. So Marilyn Monroe was known for taking sleeping pills, but the amount that they said that she could have taken would not have killed her. So Marilyn died on August 4th, 1962. Peter Lawford had concern about Marilyn Monroe's safety, so he rang up the housekeeper to ask if Marilyn was actually okay. The housekeeper said that Marilyn's been in her room all day and that she's fine. But after the phone call, the housekeeper actually went to check on Marilyn, and then that's when they found Marilyn face down on the bed, not breathing. So what's weird about this death? Not only would it have took 50 sleeping pills to actually kill Marilyn, she wouldn't have been able to do that anyway because there was no glass of water found in her room. There was no water to be had. So she wouldn't have physically been able to swallow that many pills to kill her. What is also weird is that the cops were not called until 4 hours after she was pronounced dead. So when it came to the autopsy, they found the drugs that were in her liver, and that would have only been able to happen if they put the drugs in through an enema, which is through the rectum, which sounds absolutely horrific. So basically a lot of things do not make sense. And also the housekeeper changed her story throughout the years, and it was a big cover-up. Even the cop that came to the case said it looked very staged. It's not a typical overdose. Usually when someone does an overdose, their legs and hands spasm up. They would not be peacefully lying straight down on her front. Without water, without a glass in the room, so that sounds a little bit weird. So obviously it sounds very suspicious how she died. She got involved with the Kennedys, which is pretty high up. That is the president, who has a lot of secrets and a lot of stuff that the government don't want, obviously, the people to know. So Marilyn Monroe obviously going to leak that information, or threaten to, has led to her death. I do not believe it was a suicide. She started actually recording her psychiatric sessions and was actually getting on a better place. She was very excited for the future. So for her to kill herself at that point doesn't sound very realistic in my eyes. And the fact that people changed their stories, and there was a lot of evidence to show that she didn't actually commit suicide. So what do you think? Do you think it was staged by the government? Or do you think she actually killed herself? Princess Diana. So on the night of August 31st, 1997, there was a terrible car crash with Princess Diana involved. There has been a big conspiracy over the death of Diana because of the royals. How she died is all a bit coincidental, that how she died. Plus, leading up to her death, Diana mentioned a lot of stuff to the media about her not being liked by the royals, her worrying for her safety, all sorts of stuff that Diana said about the situation. Diana even voiced her fears about her car, saying she feels like there are problems with it and that's been tampered with. It's rumoured that Diana was having a relationship with a man called Al Farid, which obviously the royals would not approve of because of the different race, and they would not accept that into the royal family at that time. It's also rumoured that Charles was having an affair with Camilla. So the driver who drove Diana's car that night was highly intoxicated and on drugs. So it was a white Fiat that crashed into Diana's car, and that car has never been seen again since the accident. The man driving the vehicle was called Henry Paul, and it has been alleged that his blood was swapped with a suicide victim's blood. Al Fayed's father, who's a billionaire, has always said to the press and has always made it clear that he believes that Diana was killed, and it's also been rumoured that she was even pregnant at the time, and it's all because of the embarrassment of the relationship that the royals and the CIA did not approve of. It's also been reported that the US intelligence had bugged her phone that night, but it's also been denied and hasn't been given any proof. But that's very suspicious in itself, because if there's nothing to hide, then... So Diana actually wrote a letter that the butler kept hold of. I'm going to read it to you now. It says, "I am sitting here at my desk today in October, longing for someone to hug me and encourage me to keep strong and hold my head high. This particular phase in my life is the most dangerous. It's planning an accident in my car, brake failure and serious head injury in order to make the path clear for Charles to marry." She wrote that herself. So I firmly believe that the royals had a lot to do with Diana's death. Diana was the most caring, loving, wonderful woman, and Charles clearly wanted to marry Camilla. And obviously Diana having a relationship with this other man was not a good situation for the royals and their reputation. So what did they do? They killed Diana. I feel like when a death is so suspicious and skeptical, there are things that are being hid. never seen the car again, swapping the victim's blood, the marriage situation, because the royals are very strict with what they do anyway, so for Diana to even be flirting with another man who is a different ethnicity to her, which obviously they did not like, that was a problem. And look, Charles is married to Camilla to this day, so... Shall we get to a juicy one? Tupac. So everyone knows the Tupac situation. Is he dead or is he alive? I just want to claim that I do think he's alive. There's a lot of weird stuff going on about this guy. Too much stuff that it makes it hard to believe that he's not alive. The Tupac was signed to Death Row Records with Suge Knight, and there was a lot of conflict to do with this because Suge Knight owed Tupac a lot of money and was very restricting of what Tupac earned. I don't think even Tupac even was allowed to have money, he just had a lot of material items. So Tupac actually wanted to leave Death Row Records and sue them for the money that he was owed. So on September the 7th, 1996, Tupac and Suge Knight went to a Mike Tyson's fight. And then Tupac had run into a Crips gang member called Orlando Anderson, which created a big fight. But then it was broken up and they went their separate ways. Suge Knight insisted that Tupac should go in the car with him. And that night was the only night that Tupac didn't wear his bulletproof vest, and he always wore his bulletproof vest. Weird. At 11 PM, a white Cadillac pulled up on Tupac and Suge Knight and shot Tupac 4 times, and then supposedly had shot Suge Knight in the head once. But what's weird about that is Suge Knight has never confessed or spoke about him getting shot in the head, and has avoided any press conversation about it, and it's never been confirmed by the police or the hospital. So Orlando Anderson, who we would think had done it, has always denied the shooting of Tupac, and so has many others. There's been theories that it could have been Biggie, there's been rumours that it could have been P. Diddy, Suge Knight, government. There's a lot surrounding this situation. Tupac supposedly died 6 days later after the incident in hospital. One of the weird things is that Tupac was cremated very swiftly after he died. And the only people to have supposedly seen Tupac's body was Suge Knight and the cremator, who's never been seen again. He vanished. Gone. There's also been a lot of clues with Tupac's death. Machiavelli, meaning I am alive. And he has released a lot of clues and information in his music that he's claiming that he's back from the dead, he's alive. There's a lot of evidence to do with that. They say that Tupac fled to Cuba with his auntie, and also Tupac mentioned about the Illuminati a lot throughout his life. So I don't know about you, but there's a lot of evidence to show that he is alive, and his death is just too suspicious. Even now, Suge Knight is saying that he believes that Tupac is alive, and then his son has come out saying that he thinks he's alive, but I don't know, I think he might just be doing it for attention, but who knows. But yeah, what do you think? Is he alive or is he dead? So this last one is a little bit of a weird one. Whitney Houston obviously is one of the most famous women. Her voice was amazing. I grew up listening to Whitney Houston as a child. I loved her so much. She died at 48, face down in the bath, saying she drowned. But what's weird about that, her daughter died the exact same way. Mary Jones, Whitney Houston's assistant, said it sounded like there was someone in the room before Whitney Houston died. But through Whitney Houston being such a big star, obviously she would have had some involvement with the higher up. She would have known about it. No one's that big of a star and doesn't know anything about it. So there's a lot of suspicion raised around. And her daughter died flat down in a bathtub, drowned, the same way that Whitney Houston did. That's a little bit suspicious in my eyes. But what was also weird is that in the bath, the water was overflowed, so the tap would have had to been on, but someone had shut the taps off. I don't know, Whitney could have been killed secretly and no one really knows about it. Or she generally did die of drugs and drowning in a bath. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. That's all with the conspiracies regarding to the mysterious deaths. But if you did like it, please leave a like down below and don't forget to subscribe. You know you want to. Yeah, I'll see you all next time. And if I haven't said it, I hope you all have a really good Christmas. Christmas is coming up, so yeah.